a woman willing to lie to do anything, and we mean anything, to destroy her ex. What did she send his co-workers? They had never seen him quite like this before. Here again, Matt Gutman.
While coaching his son's football team, Joe Good was bowled over, not by the play, but by the pretty blonde on the sidelines, Tawny Blazejowski.
You know, her son was on the same team as my son.
What?
Dating after when I got divorced.
Joe and Tawny could have been a modern-day Brady Bunch. Tawny is mom to 4. Joe is the father of 2.
Just watch, okay?
Each with a divorce under their belt, and together they found passion.
She was a lot of fun. She was a great change from marriage.
Life with her was pretty good.
She was awesome.
And what the smiles on boozy Caribbean cruises tell in pictures, Tawny's love letters tell in words.
She's very passionate and enthusiastic in everything she does.
Were you ever in love with her?
Yeah, I was in love with her.
Their love blossoms here along the shores of St. Augustine, Florida. Life, for a time at least, is heavenly. Joe lives here on Paradise Pond Road, managing insurance claims for a national company. Tawny tucked away in this nearby cozy cul-de-sac. And after 2 years of dating, Joe proposes. Here's the ring, and here's Tawny's excited Facebook post.
Simp.
But when Joe drags his feet on setting a date, Tawny drags him under.
Did you ever get any indication that there might have been something a little bit off with her?
There were red flags. She would get upset about things.
Didn't go away.
No, they kept on, and the time frame between when she'd get mad got shorter and shorter. And it escalated to where finally she asked me, do you want me to just go ahead and cancel the vacation I got planned for you? And I said, yeah, sure, I'm done. I'm tired of this crap.
The engagement is now very off.
So you called her bluff?
I said, yeah, cancel it. Immediately the phone rang. And she was, are you sure this is what you want? Because I got everything lined up that I'm going to ruin you. And I'm like, what? About a half hour after that conversation, I get a text message on my phone that my Yahoo password had been changed.
The bond that almost led to marriage breaks in the time it takes to send an email.
Well, that's why I don't use
Tawny
Yahoo.
Scorned, hacks Joe's personal email account, and an epic cyberstalking campaign begins. First campaign stop, Joe's employer.
That night, I just went to bed, got up the next morning real early, went into work, opened up my work email, and there's 14 emails that I was CC'd on that were sent to the CEOs of the company.
Saying what?
Pornographic pictures.
Not just any pornographic pictures, one of them features Joe in, well, happier times. We won't go any lower, but Tawny would. She FedExes these packages to all of the members of his company's board. Inside, sex toys and condoms. As if your colleague seeing you naked isn't the stuff of nightmares. Surprise! The torment really begins with a polite knock on the door at 2 a.m.
The night of October 19th, things changed.
What happened that night?
1:30, opened up the door, and there's a police officer. Yeah, and he goes, Mr. Good, yeah, we'll step on out here. So you want to tell me what happened? You and your girlfriend have a little altercation tonight? I was like, what are you talking about? I've been here all night long.
In the middle of the night, Tawny drives to the sheriff's office. The pictures of her bloodied face show what she told cops that night. Joe beat her.
Do you think she had it in her to whack herself in the face?
Oh, yeah. Slam a door on her face.
She was able to exploit these systems that are there to actually protect us.
It's fake, the picture.
Faith in.
I ended up going to jail that night. Because here's the thing. A girl says a guy hit her. Most people think, wow, the guy hit her. They don't think the girl's lying.
Now
Despite
reverse
Joe's
the
alibi,
roles.
A judge slaps him with a protection order, which Tawny then uses to get Joe arrested a second time. She
I'm
tells
kidding,
cops
relax,
that
chat,
Joe's making
just-
harassing calls, threatening her life. How does she pull this off? Well, she's become an expert in spoofing, a cyber-stalking trick that makes it seem as if Joe is calling Tawny, even when he's not.
So she's now calling the police saying that I'm calling her breaking the injunction violation.
Then Tawny spoofs again, making it appear as if Joe's threatening her from his work number. And this time she says she's got the voicemails to prove it. Listen.
I still have a gun. I know where you are, and I'm coming
We now know it's probably Tawny digitally manipulating her voice. But back then, cops hadn't caught on yet, and they arrest Joe for a third time. By now,
Jesus.
his employer has had it. They fire Joe. During all of this, Joe takes a little vacation with his new girlfriend, Mariella Murphy. One wonders why he'd ever return, but when he does...
There's the airport security asking, "You Mr. Good?" "Yes, sir. Step over here with me." They'd got a tip that I was smuggling drugs in from D.C.
Found nothing, of course.
Found nothing. I said, "There's aspirin in there," but that's the strongest you're gonna get. Somehow she found out that I was going to D.C.
As if all of this isn't frightening enough, Tawny is about to tighten the screws.
Okay,
entering
dude.
more dangerous and demented territory. Listen to this. It's Tawny calling the Florida Abuse Hotline.
There was allegations of him having sex with his daughter, and he's provided all of his children with alcohol.
But Tawny's just getting warmed up.
He himself gets drunk. I think he is having sex with these young teenage girls because he's into child pornography.
Did that ever happen?
No.
But still, investigators don't believe Joe. After all, he's been arrested 3 times. Growing bolder, Tawny now makes it dangerous to just know Joe. Finding fresh meat in Joe's colleague at work, Jenny Rober, and, weirdly, Joe's new girlfriend's landlord, Doug Duggan.
She did a Crime Stoppers tip to me, accusing me of allegations against my kids.
Making pornography with your children?
Yes.
So she accused you of being the most horrible type of pedophile.
The things that are on there, I can't even repeat. They're so horrible.
It's hard to imagine Tawny stooping any lower, but she
Jesus.
has, now involving the children of relative strangers. As for Mr. Duggan, Joe's girlfriend's landlord, he also gets an anonymous threat, this time through the U.S. Postal Service. We now know it's another special delivery from Tawny Blazejowski, threatening to burn his house down.
Holy
Burn it
shit.
down.
I spent a couple of sleepless nights wondering if the house was going to burn this night.
Jesus, dude. Fucking crazy motherfucker. Why is this part 2?
The stalker of St. Augustine was about to be stalked.
I'm done with this. This is part 2.
Bottle Blonde, Tawny Blazejowski, had become a dangerous loose cannon, menacing 16
Jack, that one done.
people from coast to coast
I'm
for
enjoying this. It's
7
pretty good.
months, all connected to her ex-fiancé, Joe Good.
How would you define what Tawny did to you?
It was total harassment.
She got him fired, humiliated, blasting his nude photo to his boss.
So what?
Arrested, accusing
Naked?
him of beating her. Investigated, claiming he ran a children's
I'm kidding.
porn ring.
I did everything I could to stay away from her. She was one step ahead of me the whole time.
Cleverly convincing the sheriff's office that Joe Good was bad news.
It was disturbing. Every time you see a police car drive by, are they coming for me? You're on pins and needles all the time.
Not content with just Joe and her
Well,
crosshairs.
chat. I feel like if she did this more coordinatedly, right? And all these allegations came almost at the same time, it did it. I feel like it would have been much harder to prove her wrong, whatever, right?
Tawny was targeting
If
his
it was
kids. And even
more
people
like
she never
at the
met.
same time.
His co-workers, his new girlfriend, his girlfriend's
No.
landlord. When a desperate Joe asks attorney Brian Shorstein for help, Shorstein flinched.
So you were afraid that she would come after you?
You never knew who would be the target of what it is she was doing. Does anybody want to get involved with this thing?
But
This thing.
took the risk. First, convincing the sheriff's office that Joe was no victimizer, he was the victim.
The first thing that came into our mind was, what are we missing?
Detectives George Harrigan and Shannon Andrews began connecting the dots.
Because she had manipulated law enforcement for so long, it was time that we get to the bottom of this and we get the real story.
And quickly, because now Tawny was turning her venom on more children. Joe Good's new girlfriend, Mariella, reported an anonymous letter threatening her then 17-year-old daughter, Erin.
Said, this is what Erin will look like the next time Mariella sees her, if she sees or even talks to Joe Good one more time. And attached was a picture of a mutilated body.
What a horrific thing to send.
This is a death threat.
She's taken it a step too far.
She was the stalker.
That's too
at one
far,
point.
man.
But when this happened, she became the stalked.
Stalked by investigators and soon enough unable to hide behind her lies. And then a breakthrough in the case. Finding out the anonymous report sent to law enforcement hotlines originated, from Tawny's computer.
You leave an electronic trail. That all came back to her.
It was enough evidence to get a search warrant and show up at Tawny's house.
You knocked on the door. She was home.
Yes.
What'd she look like?
Like a mother at home with her kids.
Totally normal.
Totally normal.
But there was nothing normal about the tiny spiral notebooks Tawny kept in her bedroom. Turns out, while her kids were studying, Tawny was scheming.
So this is the first notebook that you saw?
Yes.
So you start flipping through it, and what goes through your mind?
That I can't believe it's actually all here.
7 notebooks.
Jesus, dude, no, I can't believe an adult writes like this, dude. What the fuck is this fucking handwriting, dude?
Pages,
what is this?
Daily notes to herself.
Preschool.
It's explosive evidence in Tawny's own schoolgirl's handwriting. A meticulous list of her many lies, every detail of her sinister plan in plain ink. Reminders,
wait, what?
Print naked pic, call self 1,000,000 times, even get picture of decomposed corpse. Dates: March 11th, filed police report on Joe. March 21st, Joe arrested at work. March 28th, made report of child abuse. And once completed, each dirty deed crossed off the list. On the margins, the haunting word, done.
I certainly did not think I would walk out of that home and have a manuscript of everything she had done and planned on doing.
The cat had become the mouse, and Tawny had set her own trap. Tawny was arrested that night.
And once we explained to her that she would be arrested, she wrote a list out of things for her ex-husband to do in reference to their kids.
She was good at lists.
No, she was very good at lists.
And finally, prosecutors would present the judge with another list, Tawny's lengthy catalog of crimes.
3 counts of threats or extortion, 4 counts of aggravated stalking, and 1 count of false report of abuse, child neglect, or abandonment.
Tawny pleaded no contest to 8 felony counts. Last week, the day before her sentencing, we went to Tawny's house.
Okay, dude.
Her daughter answered the door.
I wanted to know if I could speak to your mother.
I mean, she honestly really isn't available right now.
And she would not make herself available.
Go away, no one's talking to you!
At the courthouse the next day, we interviewed 2 of Tawny's many victims.
If she were sitting right here where I'm sitting, what would you say to her?
She needs to understand that there's consequences, because I think that she thought she was above the law.
How about 3 days in jail and 3 months probation?
Tawny walking out of the courtroom.
Sound like a deal?
This time, nowhere to hide.
Maybe you want to say something to your victims. Anything. Do you feel any remorse?
You're smiling. Why are you smiling? Something funny? I'm sorry, something funny. Ruined the people's lives right there.
And 4-hour community service.
You said that their kids were pedophiles. They accused them of being pedophiles.
Dude, what is that walk? What is NPC White Knight walk? What is this?
They accused them of being pedophiles. You have nothing to say.
She would finally talk to the judge, the tormentor now begging for leniency.
I'm pleading with you, Your Honor, to please grant me forgiveness.
No.
I ask my victims for forgiveness and for mercy, and for you to please not take me away from my children who need me.
Fuck off!
Her lawyers argue that she's got obsessive-compulsive disorder and is bipolar, and that those disorders contributed to her crimes. But the judge has heard enough.
That she be committed to the Department of Corrections for a period of 9 years.
9 years in prison plus 2 years of house arrest, and get this, 19 years of probation. But still, for Tawny's many victims, the anger and the fear are imprinted for life. Joe Good is forever transformed
19 year probation.
His obsession and those neat little notebooks.
There were some things that were not yet crossed off. Do you think if she hadn't been arrested, she would have kept going?
I'm sure she would.
Not far enough.
Joe Good had been arrested 3 times for not having done anything wrong.
Correct.
I mean, does the department feel guilty about that, or?
Absolutely. It's changed us forever as far as investigators.
While he's waiting for those arrests to be expunged from his record, Joe's gone from making almost 6 figures to doing lawn work.
If she were here right now and you could ask her any question or tell her
Feels
anything,
bad, man.
what would you say?
Why couldn't you just let go?
So here's the question tonight. What do you think of that sentence? 9 years in prison, 19 years of probation. Too much or too little for all those lives she's changed?
Too little, not far enough, dude. Dude, that's too little. Are you kidding me, dude? Dude, that's like the permanent fucking crazy damage to everybody, man. Come on, man. That's not far enough. Write a comment. She should be responsible for his loss of income. True.
9 months, Pog.
That's a
I can
true.
feel our baby coming, Felix. Oh my god, here it comes.
What else?
Gachi, gachi, gachi,
Plot twist,
gachi.
Joe was fired because his employer was envious of Joe's size and length. Okay, dude. Okay, dude, good one. Guys, I'll admit it, that was
Watch
pretty
this,
good.
please, and see if you know all of the things.
Okay. Chat, that's actually pretty good. Chat, you guys really link shit like this. That's actually interesting, sorry.
When
Pog
I
chat.
started watching you,